Last week I mentioned that there was some news. I heard it through the grapevine that Rigid Tools was going to announce something big, and today that announcement was made. Now, am I a prophet? No, I don't think so. A tool hero? That's more plausible. So today I'm going to let you know everything I know about the big announcement that Rigid Tools just did, and we're going to bring you pictures and images and hopefully some prices. Rigid just announced a brand new lineup called RIDGID NUKE, and at first, I'll be honest, that name kind of threw me off because when you think of Nuke, you think immediately of loud, overpowered, and maybe a little ridiculous. But that's not what these are. They're not giant full-size tools. They're not massive concrete breakers. They're not 12-inch miter saws or giant table saws. This is Rigid taking their 18-volt subcompact brushless lineup and basically trying to reintroduce it with a lot more energy and a lot more power, with a lot more louder of an identity. And honestly, that might be exactly what Rigid needs, because let's call it what it is. Rigid has been kind of quiet for a while, not completely like dead, not gone. They've still had new tools being released. They still have their 18-volt platform. They still have a loyal fan base, and they still have the lifetime service agreement, which is one of the best things going for the power tools for Rigid. But compared to Milwaukee, DeWalt, Makita, Flex, well, not Flex, Ryobi, and some of the other brands that are constantly making noise, Rigid has felt a little quiet and a little safe. A little like they were just hanging around in the background while everybody else was fighting for attention. And that's why this Nuke lineup feels a little bit different from what we've seen from Rigid prior. That was a lot of words, a lot of talking. With this new announcement, it feels like Rigid is trying to say, hey, we're still here. We'll still put the 18-volt new tools out on our platform. We still build tough tools, but now we're gonna go compact or even more compact with a little bit more energy. And well, that's sort of exciting. Now, the big phase Rigid is using for this lineup is most compact, lightweight, more power where it counts. We've already talked about that. That tells you exactly what they're trying to do. They're not just trying to say these things are tiny tools, very small, easy to get into tight areas. They're saying that these are compact tools that are supposed to feel like a real job site tool. And that's important because compact tools have always had one big problem. People love the size, they love the weight, they love the fact that you can use them in overhead situations, in cabinets, between studs, and in crawl spaces, ladders, and places where a full-size tool just gets annoying. But the fear is always the same. Are you giving up too much power? Are you buying smaller tools that feel nice in a hand, but then they don't really do what you need them to do when you go to use them? And that's where Rigid seems to be changing the conversation. At least it looks like that way to me. And when you look at these new Nuke tools, you can see what they're trying to do. This does not feel like Rigid just slapped a new sticker on the same old tools and called it a day. Usually Rigid tools are bigger and bulkier, but they seem to go the other way with it. All right, so let's get into this and we'll talk about what these things are going to come with. A lot of these kits are coming with a 2 amp hour max output battery, and that makes sense because these are subcompact tools. You want them small, you want them light, you want them to feel pretty balanced, but the battery you put on these tools is probably going to matter. So 2 amp hour is going to be a little bit smaller and do what these tools are built to do. All right, so let's talk about the tools, and I got the pictures. The first tool is the Rigid 18-volt NUKE subcompact brushless half-inch drill driver. Now, this is probably going to be one of the main entry points into the new NUKE lineup because a drill driver is one of those tools that everybody needs. Now, Rigid says this drill delivers 750 inch-pounds of torque and runs up to 2,000 RPM, has a 2-speed gearbox, and uses a 16-position clutch, so you can dial it in depending on the job. Now, this is going to be great for cabinet installs and punch list work, electrical and HVAC, and things along those lines. Hell, even shelving and all that stuff. Now, you can buy that one of two ways. You can buy it tool only, which is, I believe, $139, and then the kit is going to be $219. That's going to come with the charger and the 2 amp hour max output. Now, if you want the same basic idea, but with the hammer drill mode, that's the next tool we're looking at. The next tool is the Rigid 18-volt NUKE subcompact. I can't pronounce anything nowadays. Brushless half-inch hammer drill. This one is very similar to the drill driver, but now you get the hammer drill mode for drilling into brick, block, concrete, and masonry. Now, Rigid says this hammer drill also delivers 750 inch-pounds of torque, runs up to 2,000 RPM, and has 2-speed gearbox, and uses a 16-position clutch as well. It weighs 2.6 pounds, and Rigid says it has a 30% more compact design. Now, that's appealing for a lot of different people. You're getting a hammer drill capability without dragging around a full-size drill. And let's be real, this is still a subcompact hammer drill, so don't think you're gonna go crazy with it. It's not an SDS rotary hammer. And that brings us to the standard impact driver. The next tool is the RIDGID 18-volt subcompact NUKE brushless 1/4 inch impact driver. This is probably going to be one of the most used tools in the entire lineup. And RIDGID says this impact driver delivers 2,000 inch-pounds of torque, up to 3,800 RPM, and 5,000 impacts per minute. Those are strong numbers for a subcompact or compact impact driver. RIDGID also claims it gives you 30% faster driving speed and a 30% more compact design. So the idea is pretty simple here. Smaller impact, faster driving, still enough power for real fastening work. This is the one you'd use for deck screws, framing screws, cabinet installs, electrical, HVAC, general fastening, all kind of different things. So I think that's gonna be a really popular kit. Now it does have a quick release 1/4 inch hex cullet and an LED light and a reversible belt hook. The kit model number is, well, right here. Now the next tool is the RIDGID 18-volt NUKE subcompact brushless 4-mode 1/4 inch impact driver. This one keeps the same main impact driver specs from the release 2,000 inch-pounds of torque, up to 3,800 RPM and 5,000 impacts per minute. But the big difference is control. This version gives you 3 adjustable speeds and a self-tapping mode, which is pretty real nice-like. Now that matters because impact drivers have gotten so powerful that sometimes the problem is not whether they can drive a screw, it is they probably drive the screw too far. Whether they can drive without snapping it, stripping it, all that stuff. Now the release lists that the mode ranges as low speed 0 to 700 RPM, medium speed 0 to 1800 RPM, and high speed 0 to 2300 RPM. Self-tapping mode up to 1900 RPM. So the way I look at it is that RIDGID gives the impact driver an overall up to performance rating, but this 4-mode version gives you control speed ranges depending on the mode you're using. That keeps it from being full send all the time. This is the one I'd look at if you're looking at finishing work, metal fastening, install work, or anything where control matters as much as power. And some people don't need modes, they just want the standard impact drivers, I get it. But if you want more control, this is probably the better version. Now, the next driver is different because it's not just another normal impact. The next tool is the RIDGID 18-volt NUKE subcompact brushless Stealth Force. This might be the sleeper tool in the whole lineup. It looks like an impact driver, but it's different. This is an oil pulse driver, which means it's designed to be smoother and quieter, and standard impact drivers aren't all the time. RIDGID claims that this tool is 73% quieter compared to the standard impact drivers. RIDGID also states that it can drive up to 2 times faster, and that's a huge claim. This is the kind of tool that makes a lot of sense for indoor work. Now, if you've never used a regular impact driver inside a house, in a basement, or in a finished room, an apartment, whatever, you know how annoying that sharp impact noise gets, especially in an enclosed space. And it's not just loud, it gets really old really quick. That's where this could really shine. Cabinet installers, people that are working in houses, home renovations, where the occupants are still at the house. Basically anyone around customers or inside the occupant's home, like I mentioned, you know how that can sometimes go. And this one also has 3 speeds and a self-tapping mode. The release list, the mode ranges as, my throat's dry, low speed up to 700 RPM, medium speed up to 1800 RPM, and high speed up to 2300 RPM. Self-tapping mode up to 1900 RPM. And RIDGID states that the self-driving tapping mode helps prevent overdriving, breaking, and stripping fasteners by stopping once screws are fully seated. I drank a lot of chocolate milk this morning. You also get a quick release 1/4 inch hex collet, tri-beam LED light, and reversible belt hook. I actually like the tri-beam LED setups because the single LED can throw a shadow right where you're trying to see, and tri-beam lighting usually gives you a cleaner view around the bit. So that's pretty real nice like as well. Now, the possible downside is that the oil pulse drivers feel different than normal impact drivers. They don't always have the same harsh, violent hammering feel, which a lot of people equate with power. So some people might pick it up and think that it feels weaker, even though smoother and quieter is pretty much the whole point of this. Now, moving away from the drivers and the cutting, RIDGID also has a compact circular saw. The next tool is the RIDGID 18-volt NUKE subcompact brushless 4.5 inch circular saw. This is not trying to replace a full-size framing saw. This is a quick cut saw for small jobs. Maybe you're doing some molding, trim work, punchless saw, something you grab when you just need to make a fast cut without pulling out the bigger saw. Now, RIDGID states that this saw runs up to 5,300 RPM and has a 1 9/16 inch cut depth. And that depth of cut matters because it lets it handle common 2x material like the 2x4 woodage. So this makes sense for quick cuts in dimensional lumber, small sheet goods, trim, blocking. We've already talked about all that. Now, RIDGID also says that it can deliver up to 475 linear feet per charge. I'd want to see what battery and material they use for that number, but it's still a good talking point for you. Now, the saw also has a 0 to 45 degree bevel capacity and electronic blade brake. Also has a metal guard, an onboard dust port, an LED light. RIDGID also claims that it's 50% lighter. That's really the point of this saw. It's not exciting because it's a beast or it beats every full-size saw. It's exciting because it might be the saw you actually grab, often for quicker cuts. So this is also one of the tools where the battery matters more. With a drill, an impact, driver, whatever, 2 amp hour max output battery, it keeps pretty much everything light and you're able to drive whatever you need with those. But with the saw, if you're doing more cutting, you might need to step it up to a bigger max output battery, like a 4 amp hour or even larger, for more sustained power and performance. The trade-off is that the bigger the battery, well, the more weight it adds, but in my opinion, with one of those saws, it's still better to grab a smaller saw with a bigger battery than a larger saw with another bigger battery. RIDGID says this one is coming out October 2026, and the last tool in the group is the high-speed blower. Now, this is the RIDGID 18-volt NUKE SubCompact brushless high-speed blower. So much chocolate milk. This one is rated at 350 mph, miles per hour, and 40 CFM. So it's not huge. That tells you exactly what kind of blower this is. This is not a leaf blower. This is not for clearing your whole yard. This is not for pushing grass clippings as much, or like thick grass clippings. This is a small cleanup tool. It's for blowing sawdust off a bench, clearing debris out of your work area, cleaning up around a miter saw, blowing out a truck bed, clearing dust from a cut line, or cleaning off your tools. And RIDGID also states that this can work as a high volume inflator because it includes a nozzle, which is pretty freaking awesome. It also has a variable speed trigger, lock-on mode, and LED light, and a removable rear cap for quick fitting cleaning. Excuse me. This is probably not the tool to sell as a lineup, but it's one of those tools that you end up using more than you actually think you will. Now, once you have a smaller blower in your shop or your truck, you find reasons to grab it all the time, and I know I do with my smaller blowers. This one tool, the model is right now with an MSRP of $79, and that rounds out the RIDGID NUKE tools from the release. Now, 6 new products launching beginning in July 2026, with the 4.5-inch circular saw coming October 2026, and the platform expanding into 2027. I had told you that there was going to be exciting news, and with this lineup, more power in smaller tools, well, I'd like to see where RIDGID continues to go with this. But of course, I am curious, are you in the RIDGID lineup, or would you think about getting into the RIDGID lineup with the tools that you were seeing today? Of course, I would like to see more than just drills and impacts from RIDGID. I would like to see some really cool tools coming out from them using this type of technology. So leave me that comment in the comment section below. Check out this video right here and get subscribed. Hit the bell notification because YouTube ain't gonna send you the next one. Back more videos soon.